So Colleen and I are going to be co-teaching this, mainly because, so we're going to be combining kind of career readiness and career transition stuff, and not just transitioning out of practice, but transitioning into like leveling up or to being a better associate or to buying in or starting your own thing. Or actually transitioning out of practice or improving your position wherever you are. So it's really about readiness for change and taking the first steps, no matter where you are in your career at the moment. And so we're going to be combining some of the best like research-based techniques for both career stuff and then building resilience. And one of the reasons that Colleen and I teamed up was because I really felt, and Colleen also agreed with me, that you can't really make big changes in your career and your life without building some resilience and good habits that go along with those things. And I think somebody said it best to me when they were talking about the analogy of going to marriage counseling, and a marriage counselor saying, well, if you think that your problems aren't going to follow you to a new marriage, you're wrong. So, and that's true. You're still you, no matter what job you end up in. So if you haven't sorted out your stuff, then it's not going to be as successful as you might think it might be.
So my answer is probably a bit of a come as you are answer. It's open to veterinarians, veterinary technicians, and probably even veterinary students if you're a keener. And if you're a keener, you're in good company with Melanie and I. I can't even call myself a recovering keener. I just, frankly, I'm still a keener. I haven't lost my AAA type personality, as it's been dubbed. You B types are welcome too. I promise to tone it down a little. But I honestly and truly feel like vet school and most of the education that everyone in the veterinary profession has completed to land wherever you are likely hasn't prepared you very well for life today. If you're a veterinarian or you're in vet school, there's been a lot of tunnel vision. There's been a lot of like really intense focus on getting where you are. And that demonstrates a huge amount of strength and self-determination. But our success in the real world is also contingent on having good peripheral vision. So I think that, it's not like me to ever actually slow down in life, but I think there does come a time when getting to know yourself a little bit better and being really intentional about how you go forward. We were all really intentional about getting through technician school, going through vet school, preparing yourself to be wherever you are. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I think we forget that next step of being really intentional once we've graduated. It's sort of like, but that was the dream. The dream was to be a vet or a technician, and now I am. I'm working with animals. This is so great. But then we need to wind it back a little and say, right, I hit goal 1, and now what's my next goal? How do I move towards that, right? And maybe it's a huge long-term goal, and maybe we need some incremental ones on the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a good mix of DVM project and Best Vet in there. So some really practical skills about negotiation and personal brand management. And if you're like me and you go like, oh, brand management, because I get a little, Melanie helps me when I get a little nervous when we start talking about that. It's really about knowing what you're about. What do you stand for? What's important to you? Right? And some of that's going to come from earlier work that we'll do around values and purpose, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what you're good at. And then we'll move to some of the trickier stuff like boundaries. Because goodness knows, boundaries are really important. And you're probably all smiling, being like, yeah, uh-huh. And then I'm going to say, like, you're going to have to say no. And then you'll be like, I don't feel well. Cool, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it. And I promise we'll work through that slightly uncomfortable, are they going to fire me if I say no feeling? And I promise it's going to be okay. And then, sort of coming around, we'll do energy budgeting, which is all about just managing yourself in the world, mindfulness, goal setting, and planning forward. So really practical, really foundational skills that we all need. I think of a lot of the work I do. I don't know if any of you went to driving school, but I went to driving school when I was 16, which was a frighteningly long time ago now. But something they said really struck with me, which is they weren't going to teach me to be a good driver. They were going to teach me what hopefully I would have learned, the habits that I would have picked up if I had been driving for 10 years and like really aware. And so I think some of what we're trying to support here is like, get these foundational skills that are going to support you and that maybe you pick up incrementally along the way, but hey, having them all in an intentional bundle is really going to give you a boost. And that group coaching and the support that you can get, the interaction piece is way better than just watching CE videos. And goodness knows there's a lot of virtual CE coming at everybody right now. But I really think that's part of what makes this special is there's going to be, a whole bunch of stuff you can do on your own, which is awesome. If you're like us, you have little kids and real world responsibilities in addition to growing yourself as a person. But it's going to help you prioritize yourself. And then you're going to have that support when you're like, okay, I saw this, but I don't know how to do that, or how would that conversation sound, or I'm a little stuck imagining this differently. You'll have peers to see how they are doing it. You'll be able to talk to Melanie and I about that. So I really think that's what's going to make it special and a really, really wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's true. And yeah, if any of those topics like negotiating or building a brand, as Colleen says, I can't understand why you'd say that was icky. But then I'm going to be honest, I did recently call epidemiology a bit dry, which many of my epi friends were like,
I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I'm hurt in my heart.
I know, but you know what? I promise it'll be fun, and it'll also, like, I think that is part of the magic is that you're going to be with other people who are trying to change things about themselves too, which I think, and all of this stuff that we're going to be presenting, you could pour through research and you could look at you could look at dissertations and you could scour the internet and try and find all this CE and do all of that introspection. But seriously, who the flip has time for that? Nobody has time for that. So, and I think that's the value of this course, is bringing it together. And hopefully the other part of it is that you're going to have some accountability, and then also some colleagues who are doing the same thing at the same time. But it's not like you have to be there live to take in any lecture pieces and things like that. It's going to be what we call asynchronous learning. So you're going to be able to take it in when you can. So for example, if you're walking your dog, or walking with your kids somewhere, or you're making breakfast, you can listen to it, the stuff that we're going to send you, and then you can do the activity when you have a moment, and then you can jump in with your colleagues and do kind of have some discussions, or come to office hours or what have you. So there's a ton of different ways to interact, and you don't have to feel like you're behind. So, because both of us are moms with I have two small kids, Colleen has two small kids, we've got a lot going on. So we designed this like a way that we would want to take it to.
Funny, not funny. If I have the time to make it, you have the time to do it. It is not a joke when I say that Melanie is one of the busiest people that I know. And I think that one of the things we often do, and I say this lovingly with self-awareness that I do it too, is I don't do the things that are going to help me be a better me 2 weeks from now or 2 days from now. I do what I need to do to get through the day. Yeah. And so, I talk about, we're talking about energy budgeting, we're talking about resource management. And what I would say is, because you can hit stop and start and listen in the car, or watch the videos later, and you can make it work around whatever your life is. And if you have a busy week or a busy 2 weeks, catch up later, no big deal, no harm, no foul, no one's judging. But I also think that the odds are that a lot of the content is going to help you be more efficient on a day-to-day basis. Certainly energy management will. But also starting to understand things like boundaries and like values are going to help you make better choices, and then reducing stress and frustration and angst that eat your energy and they eat your time, right? So, and if you're, trying to, as you said, trying to manage some of this stuff on your own and maybe wandering aimlessly a little bit, getting some focus is going to save you time in the long run, just like it's going to save you money in the long run. So I think that generally speaking, it's a really courageous choice to choose yourself. And almost every veterinary professional I know chooses themselves last. We choose our clients first, we choose patients first, we choose work first, we choose the clinic first, we choose the other members of our family first. And I have learned a number of times the hard way that I can't pour from an empty bucket. And it sounds cheesy, and I know we've all heard it before, and like, great, Colleen's telling me something I already know. I am. But I'm going to ask you to really hear it this time. So if you can invest in yourself this way, you're going to have way more to give to other people and hopefully be a little happier along the way. So I think that from a financial perspective, this is really an investment that there will be a lot of return on this investment. So yeah, it's going to take some time, and I'm not going to pretend that it's not. You do need to come in wanting to give it some time, because if you don't, you're not going to get as much out of it. But I would really say that it's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging. As you've noticed, Melanie and I are fun and animated people. So expect that in your content, and know that coming out of it, that energy and willingness and direction are going to help you, are going to save you time in the long run. They're going to make you better.
I gotta show you something. So Colleen has told me that so many times, like, I need to choose, I need to take care of myself and all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah. And then look what I did. Look what I put up on my office this week. Pay yourself first. I don't know if
Nice.
Pay yourself first. And I don't mean pay myself money first, although that's probably good retirement advice, I think, but that's not really my jam. So, but yeah, so pay yourself first. But I thought I put that up last week, and I thought, and I've looked at it every day, and it's encouraged me so much to do, to go and work out, or just take a few minutes walk or whatever, just do a meditation. It's really helped, actually. So Colleen, I took your advice, and guess what? It worked.
I would just like to say, it's that moment right there. And it worked. My gosh. Like, yes, this is what I'm telling you. I think we all have this belief that it works for other people, not us. And I'm telling you that with a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of support, it's going to work for you too, even if you've struggled before.
Yeah. So, and I can tell you that, when we're talking about learning about negotiation, using evidence-based techniques for both men and women, that's going to make you more money in the end. If you know how to negotiate better, not only will that help you with negotiating with clients, but also negotiating your salary, or negotiating if you're an employer and you're trying to negotiate with your employees, trying to be a more fair and equitable employer, or trying to take a proposal forward at work. Those can be really, really helpful skills. So we're going to go through all of that too. So yeah, that'll help as well. Thank you for tuning in to our big news. Take care.
Thank you.